and welcome to the Mastermind semi-finals with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Stuart McNichol, an English teacher whose specialist subject is the musician Frank Zappa. Holly Franklin, a student. She'll be answering questions on the life and works of the poet Siegfried Sassoon. Jonathan Evans, a doctor, his specialist subject, pioneering British and Irish female aviators. And James Beebe, a charity director whose subject is winners of the Eurovision Song Contest. Remember, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And our 4 semi-finalists tonight have come a long way, tramping through fields of knowledge, knee-deep in books and revision and swatting, and I'm sure sleepless nights too, sweating over the reception they'll receive from the famous black chair. Unforgiving if you haven't done your homework, unforgiving if you can't battle the nerves. 2 minutes on their specialist subject and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge will decide who takes a giant leap forward into the Mastermind Grand Final. So, can I ask our first semi-finalist to join us, please? Your name?
Stuart McNichol.
Your occupation?
English teacher.
And your specialist subject?
Frank Zappa.
The prolific, unconventional American musician and composer. In 2 minutes, let's go. Frank Zappa was born in Baltimore in 1940 to Italian parents, his surname being the Italian word for which farming or gardening implement?
Hoe.
Yes. What's the title of Zappa's 1982 single commercially successful in the United States, which features a rap by his daughter Moon Unit?
A Valley Girl.
Yes. What was the name of the French-born composer whom Zappa greatly admired from his youth and whose work, Ionization, for 13 percussionists, had a strong influence on his music?
Edgar Varese.
Yes. Much of Zappa's prodigious output features various incarnations of his band, the Mothers of Invention, which he formed in the mid-1960s from the remnants of which covers group?
The Soul Giants.
Yes. Who produced Zappa's first album, Freak Out, having previously worked with a number of avant-garde jazz artists such as Sun Ra and John Coltrane?
Dick Kunk.
No, Tom Wilson. What's the title of Zappa's self-published 1984 book, originally called Christmas in New Jersey, featuring a cover photo of him wearing a green oven glove on one hand?
Baby Snakes.
No, Them or Us. What was the name of the studio in Cucamonga, California, that Zappa took over from Paul Buff in 1964 and subsequently renamed Studio Z?
PAL Studios.
Yes, Zappa's recordings with the London Symphony Orchestra were both released on which record label founded by him in 1981?
Bizarre.
No, Barking Pumpkin Records. What's the name of the keyboard player born in County Durham who played in Zappa's band from 1976 to 77? Zappa describing him as bringing to the group a sort of damp English charm smothered in rosy-cheeked appeal.
Tommy Mars.
No, Eddie Jobson. What's the title of the only non-instrumental track on Zappa's 1969 album Hot Rats, which features vocals by Captain Beefheart?
Willie the Pimp.
Yes, the song San Bernardino on Zappa and the Mothers of Invention's One Size Fits All album opens with the lines, "She lives in Mojave in a Winnebago. His name is Bobby. It looks like a what?
Potato.
Yes, which European president, an avowed fan of Zappa, appointed him as a trade negotiator for his country until forced to revoke this arrangement by the US government?
Václav Havel.
It was Václav Havel. And Stuart, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
Holly Franklin.
Your occupation?
Student.
And your specialist subject?
The life and works of Siegfried Sassoon.
The renowned British war poet and soldier, born in 1886 and known for poems such as The General and The Dugout. In 2 minutes, let's go. Sassoon was given what middle name in tribute to the clergyman who had advised his mother when they were organising her marriage?
Lorraine.
Yes, at the age of 13, Sassoon began attending what boarding school 14 miles from the family home, Wearley, in Kent?
Marlborough.
No, the New Beacon. Sassoon was a keen hunter and, at the peak of his riding career, owned 4 horses, Rubicon, Golumpus and Crusader, as well as which other his favourite?
Lady Jill.
No, Cockbird. Sassoon hated the Ivor Novello song Home Fires and vowed in a 1916 letter that he would kill the man who wrote it, although in 1924 he instead had an affair with Novello, to whom was the letter written?
Robert Graves?
No, Edward Dent. What was the name of the woodland where Sassoon single-handedly captured a battalion frontage in July 1916?
Flixecourt?
No, Mamet. Sassoon's statement against the war, which he sent to his commanding officer, is usually known by what title, under which it was first published in the Bradford Pioneer in July 1917?
Finish with the War, a Soldier's Declaration.
Yes. Which of his collections of poetry did Sassoon refer to as his Undertaker book, pointing out to Osbert Sitwell that in the 39 poems, the words death, die and dead appeared 40 times?
Counterattack?
Yes, in Sassoon's poem, Repression of War Experience, published in 1918, he wrote, I'm going crazy. I'm going stark, staring mad because of the what?
Because of the guns.
Yes. When they met in October 1918, Winston Churchill offered Sassoon a job in which ministry, which he turned down on the grounds of it being at odds with his various protests against the war?
The Department of Defence?
No, Ministry of Munitions. The dead bequeathed them life. The dead have said what these can only memorise and mumble, are the last two lines of which poem written by Sassoon in the 1920s?
Absolution.
No, Grandeur of Ghosts. To the amazement of his close friends and family, Sassoon married the socialite Hester Gatty in December 1933. What first name did they give their only child, born in October 1936?
George.
It was George. And Holly, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 5 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name,
Jonathan Evans,
your occupation,
doctor,
and your specialist subject.
pioneering British and Irish female aviators.
The British and Irish women who took to the skies from the 18th century to the end of the Second World War. In 2 minutes, let's go. Letitia Sage is said to have become the first British woman to fly when, in 1785, she was a passenger in a balloon flight from St. George's Fields in Southwark to an area of common land close to which English public school?
Harrow.
Yes. In 1936, Beryl Markham became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean from east to west when she touched down in a bog on what island in Nova Scotia?
Cape Breton.
Yes, Winifred Brown won the prestigious 745-mile-long King's Cup air race in 1930, flying what make and model of aircraft?
An Avro-avian?
Yes, in 1910, a plane called Mayfly because it may fly or it may not is thought to have been the first plane to be designed, built and flown by a woman in the British Isles when it was piloted by which Anglo-Irish photographer?
Lillian Bland.
Yes, Edith Cook, who was probably the first woman to fly monoplanes, learned to fly at a school in Pau opened by which French aviator?
Blériot.
Yes, Louis Blériot. In 1824, a domestic servant named Miss Stock survived the crash of which balloon after its pilot, Thomas Harris, accidentally released all its gas?
Pass.
In 1929, the champion air racer Winifred Spooner was awarded which trophy as the world's outstanding female aviator?
The Harmon Trophy.
Yes, in 1936, at the age of 23, Naomi Heron Maxwell became the first British woman to achieve what coveted gliding qualification?
Of the Silver Sea.
Yes. What was the name of the parachute system that Sylvia Boyden used when she became the first British woman to parachute from a plane in 1919?
The Guardian Angel.
Yes, one of the longest legs of Amy Johnson's 1930 flight from London to Australia was the stretch of more than 800 miles from Surabaya in East Java to the Atombua aerodrome on which island?
Timor.
Yes, while flying from Cape Town to London in 1928, Mary, Lady Heath, met Mary, Lady Bailey, who was flying the same route in reverse when they both landed in which African city?
Khartoum.
Yes, at the outbreak of war in 1939, which former barnstormer and operator of a passenger air service was given the task of establishing the women's wing of the Air Transport Auxiliary?
Pauline Gower.
It was Pauline Gower. Jonathan, you had just the one pass. In 1824, a domestic servant named Miss Stock survived the crash of which balloon? It was the Royal George. And at the end of that round, Jonathan, you've got 11 points. And our final contender, please. Your name,
James Beebe,
your occupation,
charity director,
and your specialist subjects.
winners of the Eurovision Song Contest.
The winning songs and performances from the famous International Song Contest. In 2 minutes, Let's go. Which country won the Eurovision Song Contest for a record 7th time when Emma Quinn came first with her performance of The Voice in 1996?
Ireland.
Yes. Which French singer wrote the winning entry Poupée de cire, Poupée de son for Luxembourg in 1965?
Serge Gainsbourg.
Yes. In which year was there a tie for first place with France, the Netherlands, Spain and the UK, each gaining 18 points?
1969.
Yes, in 2004, what traditional instrument similar to an alpine horn was played on stage during the performance of the winning act, Ruslana, from Ukraine?
Duduk.
No, a trembita. In 2007 in Helsinki, the trophy was presented to the Serbian winner by which character who was described by the presenters as a distinguished guest, the world's most famous Finn, a man with many names?
Asterix.
No, Santa Claus. What's the real name of the Austrian singer who won the contest in Copenhagen in 2014, performing as Conchita Wurst?
Tom Neuvert.
Yes, in 2008, Dima Bilan was successful at his second attempt at the contest, securing Russia's first Eurovision win with the song Believe. He was accompanied on stage by which Olympic gold medal-winning figure skater?
Evgeny Plishenko.
Yes, when Toto Cutugno won the contest for Italy with the song Insemia 1992. It was held in which city?
Zagreb.
Yes, after winning the competition, the lead singer of which band said in an interview on the BBC, "We have absolutely nothing to do with Satanism or devil worshipping. This is entertainment."
Lordi.
Yes, in 2012, which of the co-writers of Sweden's winning song Euphoria also co-wrote that year's Norwegian entry Stay, which finished last?
Peter Bostrom.
Yes. What 3 words complete the chorus of the winning song from 2000, which begins with the lyrics, "Fly on the wings of love, fly baby fly, reaching the stars above"?
Flying So High.
No, Touching the Sky, which Greek singer won the competition as a solo act, although she'd previously represented her country as part of a group called Antique,
Helena Paparizou.
who came 3rd in the contest in 2001. It was Helena Paparizou.
Sorry.
And James, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 9 points. And at the end of the specialist subjects round in this semi-final, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 5 points, it's Holly. In 3rd place with 8 points, it's Stuart. In 2nd place with 9 points sits James. And in 1st place with 11 points, it's Jonathan. So now the general knowledge round. And if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, it's a tie break. So let's ask Holly to join us again, please. Holly, you start with 5 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. Which British city's underground rail network includes the Bakerloo, Victoria and Hammersmith and City lines?
London.
Yes, in 1858, which future American president made a famous speech at the Republican State Convention in Illinois, in which he said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand"?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, in the standard UK version of the board game Scrabble, there are how many blank tiles?
5.
No, 2. In the periodic table, which radioactive element named after a planet appears between uranium and plutonium?
Xenon.
No, Neptunium. The 2 golfers with the surname Smith and Young, who finished 1st and 2nd at the Open Championship at St Andrews in 2022, both have what first name?
Donald.
No, Cameron. The César are annual film industry awards in which European country?
France.
Yes. What herb, which comes in flat leaf and curly leaf varieties, is often used as a garnish and is a key ingredient in the Middle Eastern salad dish tabbouleh?
Kale.
No, parsley. Which musical by Cole Porter, first performed in 1948, features the songs So in Love, Brush Up Your Shakespeare and Another Opening, Another Show?
No business like show business.
No, Kiss Me Kate. What name for a form of electromagnetic radiation with a short wavelength, widely used in medical diagnosis, is derived from the fact that its exact nature was unknown at the time of its discovery in 1895?
X-rays.
Yes. In the Charles Dickens novel David Copperfield, what's the first name of Mr. Micawber?
Uriah.
No, Wilkins. What's the title of the 2022 television series starring Leslie Manville and David Morrissey about the hunt for a killer in a Nottinghamshire mining community?
Sherwood.
Yes, which Greek philosopher told of the mythical kingdom of Atlantis in two of his dialogues written around 360 BC?
Aristotle.
No, Plato. What word for a list of names or subjects at the end of a book is also used in a name for the finger next to the thumb that's used for pointing?
Index.
Yes, which American singer who died in January 2022 had a UK #1 single in 1993 with I Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That?
Meatloaf.
Yes, the name of which small city in southwest England is unusual in that it ends with an O?
Westward Ho.
No, Truro, an art museum opened in Aix-en-Provence in southern France, is in the former studio of which post-impressionist painter who was born in the city in 1839?
Picasso.
No, Paul Cézanne is the answer to that. And Holly, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got a total of 12 points.
Thank you.
And next up, it's Stuart. Stuart, you start with 8 points. The score to beat as it stands is 12 points, and you've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. Kelso, Stornoway and Linlithgow are towns in which one of the home nations of the UK?
Scotland.
Yes, the abbreviation ABV, often printed on the labels of bottles of wine, beer or spirits, stands for alcohol by what?
Volume.
Yes, at the World Athletics Championships in July 2022, the British runner Jake Whiteman won a gold medal over what distance?
800.
No, 1,500 metres. What name, derived from the Greek for many and islands, is given to a broad region of the South and Central Pacific Ocean that encompasses Tonga, Samoa and other island groups?
Polynesia.
Yes, which comedian and chat show host presented the Brit Awards for the first time in 2022?
Graham Norton.
No, Mo Gilligan, the holder of which senior cabinet post in the UK government also has the title Second Lord of the Treasury?
The Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Yes, which singer, together with his backing band, had his first UK hit single in 1958 with Move It, and went on to have numerous top 10 hits in each of the next 5 decades?
Cliff Richard.
Yes, the 2015 book by the Swedish author David Lagerkrantz, which is a continuation of Stieg Larsson's Millennium Trilogy, is entitled The Girl in the what?
White dress.
No, Spider's Web. In 1989, the large bronze sculpture known as the Charging Bull by the artist Arturo Di Modica was installed outside the stock exchange of which American city?
New York.
Yes, in the 1965 film adaptation of Dr. Zhivago, which Egyptian actor and renowned bridge player plays the title character?
Omar Sharif.
Yes, in the Bible, Seth was the third son of which couple?
Adam and Eve.
Yes, what word, derived from the Latin for death, is used to refer to a notice in a newspaper that announces a person's passing and often includes a short biography?
Obituary.
Yes, the cliffs of Beachy Head and the Seven Sisters are in which English national park?
Peak District.
No, the South Downs. Doge was a title used until the beginning of the 19th century for the chief magistrate in 2 Italian city-states. One was Genoa, which was the other?
Venice.
Yes, Felix Mendelssohn dedicated his Symphony No. 3 in A minor, known as his Scottish Symphony, to which British monarch?
George III.
No, Queen Victoria, which French novelist based his novel, The Count of Monte Cristo, on his father's life as a general in Napoleon's army?
Alexander Dumas.
Yes, in 2021, Jonas Gahr Støre succeeded Erna Solberg as Prime Minister of which European country?
Denmark.
No, Norway, the supposed hangover cure made by adding a raw egg yolk to various combinations of brandy, tomato juice, Worcestershire sauce, vinegar and hot pepper sauce is known as a prairie cocktail or a prairie what?
Oyster.
Yes, it is prairie oyster. And Stuart, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got a total of 20 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's James. James, you start with 9 points. The score to beat as it stands is 20 points. And you've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. What informal term for a person who is foolish or irrational is the common name of a bird, many species of which are noted for laying their eggs in other birds' nests?
Cuckoo.
Yes, as part of the European tour in 2022, to mark their 60th anniversary, which veteran British rock band performed a concert at Liverpool's Anfield Stadium and 2 in London's Hyde Park?
Rolling Stones.
Yes, in which fishing village in Suffolk are there two nuclear power stations designated A and B, one of which ceased operating in 2006?
Sizewell.
Yes, which ancient manuscripts were discovered in caves near Qumran in the Judean desert by Bedouin shepherds in 1947?
Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes, Commonwealth Day is observed annually on the second Monday of which month?
February.
No, March, in the television comedy series 2012 and W1A, both first broadcast in the 2010s. The main character, Ian Fletcher, is played by which British actor?
Hugh Bonneville.
Yes, what species of butterfly, commonly seen in the British Isles, has the scientific name Vanessa atalanta?
Red Admiral.
Yes, the twins who feature in a series of children's books written by Gareth and Jean Adamson and illustrated by Belinda Worsley are Topsy and who?
Turvey.
No, Tim. In which 1910 opera by Puccini does Minnie, a saloon owner, rescue her beloved from a mob of angry miners?
La Boheme.
No, the girl of the Golden West. Phnom Penh is the capital city of which country in Southeast Asia?
Cambodia.
Yes, Lower Loxley Hall, Willow Farm and The Bull are locations in what long-running radio drama serial?
The Archers.
Yes, what temperature scale is named after the British physicist who was born William Thomson but became better known by the title he was granted in 1892?
Fitzroy.
No, Kelvin. What Oscar-winning 1995 historical film features Patrick McGoohan as King Edward I, Angus MacFadyen as Robert the Bruce, and Sophie Marceau as Princess Isabel?
Braveheart.
Yes, in which Winter Olympic sport do competitors score marks for landing on the so-called K-point and additional marks for each metre they land beyond it?
Ski jump.
Yes. What word for a private room or compartment on a cruise ship is also used for the main section of a commercial aircraft where the passengers sit?
Cabin.
Yes, Baroness Jay of Paddington, who joined the House of Lords in 1992, is the daughter of which Labour Prime Minister?
Peter J.
No, James Callaghan. A Deemster is a High Court judge specifically on which island of the British Isles?
Isle of Man.
Yes. What style of headwear traditionally worn in academic settings consists of a close-fitting cap topped with a square of stiff material and gets its name, I've started so I'll finish, gets its name from its resemblance to an item used by bricklayers and plasterers?
Mortarboard.
It is a mortarboard. And James, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 22 points. And finally, let's have Jonathan again. So, Jonathan, you start with 11 points. The score to beat to get through to the Mastermind Grand Final is James's 22 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. The name of which metric unit of mass is commonly abbreviated to the letters kg?
Kilogram.
Yes, turf accountant is an alternative job title for a person with what occupation?
Bookmaker.
Yes. What's the full name of the British politician who used the campaign slogan PM for PM in the 2022 Conservative Party leadership contest?
Boris Johnson.
No, Penny Mordaunt, Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 in D minor, is better known by what name, relating to the fact that when it was first performed in 1824, it was unusual for featuring vocalists in its fourth and final movement?
Choral Symphony.
Yes, which former world champion boxer, together with his wife, Faryal, is the subject of a television series that began in 2021 with the subtitle Big in Bolton?
Amir Khan.
Yes, the 1920s play And So to Bed by James Bernard Fagan is based on the 17th century writings of which noted diarist?
Pepys.
Yes, the geometric shape known as a quindecagon has how many sides?
15.
Yes, Alan Ladd plays the title character in which 1953 western about a gunfighter who comes to the aid of homesteaders threatened by a local rancher.
True Grit.
No, Shane. What name for certain birds of the finch family refers to the fact that their diet includes flax seeds?
Seed Eater.
No, Linnet. Which veteran singer had a UK #1 album in 2021 with the Lockdown Sessions, a series of collaborations that includes the chart-topping duet with Dua Lipa entitled Cold Heart?
Pass.
In May 2022, which English Premier League football club was bought by a consortium led by Todd Boehly, the co-owner of the LA Dodgers and LA Lakers sports franchises?
Chelsea.
Yes, which is the second largest of the Balearic Islands after Mallorca?
Ibiza.
No, Minorca. Which famous theologian and religious reformer was declared an outlaw and a heretic by the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V in 1521?
Martin Luther.
Yes, the British engineer Andrew Smith Halliday designed and constructed the first cable car line, completed in 1873, for which American West Coast city?
Los Angeles.
No, San Francisco. Which British artist's 1998 book entitled Dog Days features paintings and illustrations of his two pet dachshunds called Stanley and Bougie?
Grayson Perry.
No, David Hockney. What rhyming name, commonly said to come from a Tahitian word meaning good, is given to a cocktail made with rum, curacao and lime juice?
Margarita.
No, it's a Mai Tai. Jonathan, you had just the one pass. It was Elton John, the singer who had a UK #1 album in 2021 with the Lockdown Sessions. And at the end of that round, Jonathan, you got 19 points. So let's have a look at the final scores. In fourth place with 12 points, it's Holly. In third place with 19 points, it's Jonathan. In second place with 20 points, it's Stuart. And in first place with 22 points, it's James, which means that he goes through to the grand final. Congratulations to him. If you'd like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us as ever at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
So I remember watching Mastermind ever since I was little. I used to watch it with my parents, and my dad, when I was a kid, used to say that I should go on it. Obviously, haven't done that for many years, but now when he sees me on it and when he sees me winning the semi-final, I think he probably won't quite believe it.
And your specialist subjects?
Winners of the Eurovision Song Contest. I've always been a huge fan of the Eurovision Song Contest. I remember when I must be 6, watching Bucks Fizz win in 1981. And I've been, really enjoying it ever since. I go to the contest with friends some years. We always have a party.
And James, you had no passes. And at the end of that round, you've got 9 points.
In the middle of the competition, I thought there was no way I was going to get through, particularly at the end of the specialist subject round. And so then when I went up into the chair for the general knowledge, I thought, OK, I've got to go for this now. And the questions just seemed to go my way. Hugh Bonneville.
Yes.
Cabin.
Yes.
Mortarboard.
It is a mortarboard.
I think I'm going to give myself a little break before I start revising for the final, but I'll get the books back out, and my friends who've been really helping me with my revision are going to be primed to be asking me even more hard questions than they've done before as I go into the final, but it's going to be tough. I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like to be the champion of Mastermind. I think I'd probably be most terrified of dropping the bowl, but I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to think about giving it my best shot and doing as well as I can in the final, and hopefully it will all go well.